That's fine. I think if you are a team that loses to Gen.G and T1, you're probably still a good team if you beat everybody else. Just not our #1 team. As we're going to take a look at the draft here, Renekton is the first ban, so you were talking about that. Kane could play a lot of things into it, but might as well just take it away from Morgan.
Good vibes for DK as they ban away the Corki and the Tristana. Showmaker, we saw this again, and I think that he has really embraced this style. And this is something that on a team with aiming makes even more sense, but I think it's important to note we even saw Showmaker do this like throughout last year, the year before that. Hasn't really been the laner that he used to be back in 2021, where he would really be, not necessarily Chovy-esque, but very oppressive nonetheless. He's been playing much more as a facilitator, something we've seen Faker do as well. And against Chovy, obviously that backfires because Gen.G just generates money just by standing around. Against OK Mambro, I think you have a lot more leeway in the plays that you go for on the map as Lucid with a right on his face.
Oh no!
I guess it's Sejuani duty again. And you know what the worst thing is? Well, that's the 0.14 patch dropped today, and there are no Sejuani nerfs, if I remember correctly, and there's a lot of AP jungler nerfs.
Great.
So if you thought the Sejuani B1 was getting old, it's at least 3 more weeks of this, and until...
Maybe she gets banned more often in that case?
I don't know. Maybe. I hope so. But I'm not seeing any AP jungle bans right now. So I'm a little bit apprehensive. Sejuani being a B1 pick is not where you want your meta to be.
None of the junglers like it, too. I mean, you saw Lucid's face. I think Owner was very outspoken about, like, really hating having to just play junglers every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not that fun, to be honest, to play Sejuani.
That's fun.
Brand is very fun. Brand does do the boom damage and the burn damage. So that's kind of the 2-4 with them.
Oh god. Yeah, we're just having a little bit of fun with this one, but it's most likely going to be just Azir.
Yeah.
With Tristana and Corki both gone. Showmaker also has in the past.
I mean, you can flex Sejuani to the top lane, but I don't think there's any good reason to do that, especially blind. Yeah, so
I want to talk a little bit about this combo specifically, especially if they go for the Talia as well, which is, I think, most likely. I think this trio of picks is considered so insanely high. Like, every single team is doing this, right? And there's part of it that makes sense. You have the CC combo between the Sejuani and then the Talia, so Sejuani's a lot of CC, Talia can follow up very nicely, and then Mega Gnar adds to that. Mega Gnar is also really hard to reliably counter. I do think that we've seen a little bit. That's fun. I like that a lot more because it also forces a response out from Poolbay right now. Because if he doesn't, we're probably going to see some LeBlanc counter bans. Doesn't work necessarily that well with the Sejuani specifically, but it is Showmaker. We know his LeBlanc is one of his favorite champions.
Yeah, I mean, LeBlanc has been popping up more and more in this meta, and we're seeing it here. We're seeing it in other regions very often as well. Braum also rising in popularity as the Ezreal Braum lane is going to be prioritized instead of like Ezreal Leona, Ezreal Alistar, a lot of these other popular duos. And I guess they just saw the top side of the map and they're like, we're going to need a Braum here.
Yeah, I actually quite like it. I think with Ezreal and Brand, you already have a composition with a good amount of poke, and then add to that the fact that if you can stand behind Braum and just fire away, get everyone clumped up, it is really strong. Also means that you don't have to ban things like Leona. You don't have to ban things like Nautilus because you have the Braum already, and like trying to play those into Braum is kind of a nightmare. You can go like Rel Alistar. I feel like those are a little bit more playable, but it's still not going to feel amazing. So we'll see what the call is going to be here when it comes to that final ban. I wonder if we're going to see like a Gangplank ban here to come through as well. It's been one of the more popular matchups in Tibnar. Rakan is another example of it's fine. It's not going to make you very excited, but they know this area is coming, right? Like that's kind of the that's the no-brainer. And question is what is going to be played alongside it.
Kind of surprised they didn't just ban it away. I mean, they are giving aiming Zeri.
Is it going to be like Zeri Yumi? I know Kellen has been hinting towards it, and to be fair, into Braum, that's a free lane.
Yeah, it feels good. Yone, another 80 mid, is going to be taken away. It feels like they really want to just cut down the pool here of what Poolbay can play.
Yeah.
especially because they did not pick their mid laner yet, and we already had Corki Tristana bans.
Well, actually, it could be Ezreal.
It could be, sure.
We haven't discussed this yet, but in theory, this could end up being like Caitlyn Braum bot lane, which, you know, wouldn't be a bad shout, honestly. And I think with this Cassante pick, they also kind of acknowledge that there is still some flex potential here. This is a self-counter pick, though. It's going to be really hard. I think Gnar came up as a counter pick to Cassante, and people were like, wait, he's just Gnar. He's still as strong as he was many a time, and Cassante does really struggle with him.
Yeah, I feel like it might come down to champion pool issues as well on the side of Brion for that one, as Kai'Sa is going to be the choice here. He saw some Viper play, and he's like, well, you know what? Kai'Sa's pretty strong, and I'll just play that. Don't need to force the Zeri.
Yeah, there was also the, what was it, like 13-game streak that Aiming had last year on Kai'Sa when he was on KT.
Yeah, he's a fantastic Kai'Sa player, and I think this is a absolutely fine pick, as the Ashe is going to come through exactly what you mentioned here. Ashe Braum for the bottom lane and Ezreal in the mid lane.
Do quite like this. We've seen these 80 mid picks come up. The obvious downside is that the engage for Brion is it's not great. You have Ashe Arrow, that's basically it, but your poke's good. The main issue that I have with a composition like this is that it is reliant on you doing well enough in lane that you can be in an objective first. Because if you take control of an objective early and you just sit there, you know, you can't really engage because the Braum, the Cassante, and then the Ashe is poking, the Ezreal's poking. I can see in theory how that works. But then you look at the other end. The engage for D+ is great between the Sejuani and the Alistar. Then you have Nari even in a flanking scenario. And are you actually going to have prio? Because I think a lot of that will come down. I think in theory, like bot lane should have prio, as Braum is a really strong bot lane, a lot of CC, a lot of damage available. I just don't know if I can trust, as that is that Kingen like flexing? Love that.
A lot of Kingen fans, it is his 5th anniversary. A lot of fans are celebrating that 5th anniversary since his debut as a pro gamer.
Did you say the Palu dinosaur? That's so apt, because Palu's tall, guys.
Yeah.
I'm a tall guy, and Palu is definitely something.
He goes even further beyond
a Dutch guy, which is nuts.
That is pretty insane. Hulbe playing Ezreal here up against DK, up against Showmaker. We'll see how that works. Going up against Showmaker's LeBlanc here for game number 1.
시간사의 학교에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we go. Game 1.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you invade. You
yeah.
They have Alistar. You have Ashe Braum and Ezreal.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer for sure.
And that's great. I mean, you talked about the prio on the bottom side with Ashe Braum. You can potentially set up vertical jungling. You can steal a buff away or something like that and allow yourself to put on even more pressure. But as we do see, they put a ward in and then they do not commit to it.
Yeah, that's a little unfortunate. I really feel like there is no observable, and I actually think they had a good setup. Like Morgan was actually standing at the ready there to check if anyone was going to go in. Now, the one upside for Brion is that this hasn't been read yet, but I think they're seeing everyone in the lane, so they're like, I think we're just fine.
Yeah.
Not going to be a problem, and it's just going to be normal jungle start. And that's... I actually was going to talk about one of the big things that we have seen with Brion is that the early game is actually not that weak, right? Like, they can do set plays. I feel like that's a great example of a play that I would love to see. And then, yeah, there would still be the normal caveats of can they actually execute upon it as the match goes on. Like, this is so insanely strong level 1.
Yeah.
And maybe you know, Young Jake clears his top side and then does the crossover into bot. But we'll have to see, because if they don't use that, I think it will be a huge waste. I really like this draft angle from Brion, but you are relying on doing well in lane.
Absolutely, and I think they should have been playing to it. They're still going to do well early on.
This is great.
And the healer's even going to come out just to make sure, Ignite just to try to zone them off, but that's not going to work. Kelly gets extremely low. And very well played here early on from Envy and Palu. Seems like Aiming and Kellen not really respecting it enough.
It's really good to see one of the things we always talk about, which is, you know, Alistair's level 1. And then we say that, and then Alistair's completely fine. And now he actually gets punished. The problem is, as we're seeing here, Lucid is completely fine. That, I think, is one of the big advantages that Sejuani has, is that her clear speed is actually insane. And Brand is one of the weakest when it comes to his first clear. I know you're a big Brand player, or have played it a lot yourself as well. As we do see, it is not that long, about a year, that Bulldog played. Of course, it's Bulldog. Loves his weird mids. Definitely someone that is very creative. But it means that Youngjae just doesn't really have the timing window, and we'll see if they maybe can look for a dive here. Kellen also did go for Phase Rush as opposed to going for something tankier. Aftershock is one we obviously often see, which does give you a lot of extra utility. But I don't think the timing is quite going to work out here. I think Lucid also might read the play. We'll see. The wave has already crashed in, and it doesn't look like they're actually going to get anything out of it. And I think it's a bit of a waste. This is still a big win, you know, like Envy's getting ahead. A lot of CS is being missed. But I would love to have to try and see them push that edge just a little bit further.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like for Bro, that could be one of the things that you put a lot of practice into, you know, just trying to get really consistent leads. I'm sure that after some of the late games we saw, they're also trying to practice, trying to get some damage into the clone. I thought maybe he was going to bounce it off with his E onto the real one and then maybe try to do something onto it, but it did not happen as Lucid did get in there, put a ward down, and then backed away. But now he does see Youngjae and might go for a return.
Little steal?
No, he's actually trying to use the vision against him, and there's the flash and a pull bay, but he is Ezreal. It might not matter, though, as the chains will connect, and Lucid will help pick up first blood here for the team.
Oh, man. That is a beautiful gank there. Lucid finds his old teammates' pull bait. Now you know how it feels. Because obviously this was something we saw a lot back in Challengers. Actually sneaks around there just outside of the vision of that ward in the river as...
King is dead here. The only question is, does he get Morgan? As he got to hit a stun, and there's the flash, and maybe now he's not dead, actually, as he is on the run down the river, but the slow does come in. And Morgan kind of blocks Youngjae a little bit. Flash comes in, and there is the flash from Youngjae with the killer instinct on the Brand.
Oh, big win there. Nicely done by Youngjae. Really important that he gets that kill. Otherwise, he wastes a lot of time. Dragon would have gone down to DK. Dragon's still going to be given over, but at least it's a good trade. The fact that Lucid's going to get this Dragon, though, that should not be allowed. And Paulo is going to spot him here. I don't know if he alone can do enough, though. I think, yeah, with Kellen coming over as well, I don't think Paulo has the damage. Also gone for a more defensive summoner set, so he might actually be in trouble here.
Wait, is he just going to die now? As you see Lucid, he wants to get the Dragon first, but now Paulo's just dead?
Yes, sir.
No, he's going to jump over. The Ignite comes in, and Youngjae gets there just on time to save his life. But that was very close.
A little bit dicey there, but with his thumbs up, I think Paulo made the right read. Knows that I think just harassing could have been enough. As, yeah, just another look at this.
He says, I'll go first with Q.
Flash Q, so not a lot of counterplay there. Nicely done. As he's like that. That's my old buddy. Got him good.
Got him good. This is the replay. That did come in on the Kingen, who in the 1v1 was doing a great job, but obviously Morgan was just baiting it, and then eventually he does force a flash out of Youngjae, but the kill is still fantastic.
Yeah, really wondering if for Kingen maybe the call there is to just accept that you're... I think he made the read that he could maybe still live, and if Youngjae misses, then that's true. As obviously Brand does a great job at clearing these very quickly. But I think he might have been able to kill Morgan well, because Youngjae doesn't have that much ability haste yet, right? So like he's actually going to take a good amount of time before he actually has damage after you flash. The initial combo could have been an angle for King to at least trade 1-for-1. Not going to be a case, not the end of the world. He had TP still, so he was able to make his way back to the lane.
We do see Alistair hiding on bush here. Kellen at the Tri-Brush. There is a caution ping that did go down in that Tri-Brush. And you see that Paulo's going to come over, check the brush, going to see Kellen as well. And might even be able to get something going here, but no, just the combo to come out. As Envy, though, does have his arrow. There it is, the hit on Kellen, who does not have his flash, and now he is in a lot of trouble. Down he will go. as Envy will pick up the free kill onto Kellen.
And Brion, the early game, again, looking good. Bot lane really struggling, the level 1. That was the start. Kellen not having his sums, ends up going down. And Polu, I think really, as we have gone over these weeks, I think we're slowly starting to see the development that the player that has come in and obviously hasn't had the best of times here on this Brion roster has doing. Oh, Young Jae.
Yeah, King and no flash, and Morgan's got his, and you do see a little bit of counter synergy, but it is just fine as Kingen just gonna go down. Young Jae throws the ult in, and Bro have a very fantastic lead early on.
Lucid.
Waiting, hiding on Brush, but Pulpe is Ezreal after all, and will just Arcane Shift away.
Yeah, this time they had a read, and there was a ward in the Banana Brush, so I imagine that maybe he got spotted on that. Polu's timings have been great, even if Pulpe gets hit there, like he doesn't die because the Braum is there. Young Jae also getting further and further ahead, and this is what we see, and why I think it's important to mention. First clear Brand, obviously, oh, he almost got it. Lucid actually forced a smite there. The Brand is gonna be like relatively even pace or slightly behind the Sejuani. Once you get Faded Ashes, once you get your Haunting guys, you are going to chew through the jungle. Lucid has been making a lot of moves on the map, but Young Jae, because of the clear speed, is able to do both. As we take another look at this, really nicely done here. Envy, I think, actually played that well. Very respectful. Just moving forward far enough to bait Kellen in, and then Kellen thought that he'd already walked it up, but I also think if he just walks up, like he gets hit by the Braum passive and he just dies in a different manner, right? He doesn't have his ult, so I think he's just dead.
He is just dead. Nice setup up here as well. Morgan saying, well, I'm Cassante and I have Flash, and the Gnar doesn't. There's no Mega Gnar. The timing is just perfect. And there's really nothing that Kingen can do except play more passively in that case. As with 2 kills, Young Jae already has Leandries as Brand 9 minutes into the game. Surely, Bro, with this kind of lead, and get something going.
This is where the real test begins. We've seen early games of Brion like this, and this is pretty much what we wanted, right? Yeah, Pulpe has struggled, has been the heavy focus, so he's behind substantially. I imagine he's going to get his Mercs, which against this 2v2 is really, really good. Going to be really high value, so that's something at least, but he doesn't have a lot of offensive power with only Mercs and a tier as the TP comes. A couple of long swords, but that's not going to be the difference maker. But bot lane is winning, and your jungle matchup actually is looking really good because of the ganks Young Jae has found towards the top lane. So this is kind of a dream scenario where you should have Prio in mid, should be able to get to that higher number of grubs and start heavily contesting for dragons. And now we need to actually see it, right? I want to see Brion play with confidence, because right now they're really, really strong. As you're saying, that Leandries, such an insane power spike here for the Brand.
Yeah, I mean, it's massive. Also gets his magical footwear, and he's going to be ready to tear through this first dragon, as Showmaker's just not missing these chains, though, and Pulpe is forced to flash once again. Takes a huge chunk right before this dragon spawns. And let's see now if DK can do something about challenging here, as they do have a 4v3 on the bottom side of the map. And trying to posture just a bit, but it looks like there was vision to spot out the jungler of DK.
Oh, I think they still can, because Kellen's level 4. Really under-leveled here.
Yeah.
See, Polu a lot better when it comes to the experience.
Lucian going to make the good call to just take the grubs away.
Yeah, and I think that's the right choice here by DK. We see Kellen back in as well. And Pulpe, the punish remains effective here. No flash on the Ezreal, even with the built-in flash. That's going to be tough. Any setup now found by Showmaker can be a big problem for this Ezreal. So, going to see more pressure levy towards the bot side, but those grubs are going to be taken as well. And I do think that it's very telling that despite everything that's happened top lane, Kingen is still up 10 CS. And I would love a dive on aiming here.
Yeah, and as you mentioned before, Kellen, he's still level 4. Paulo's level 6, so the support gap right now is huge. And yeah, they just cannot approach this, although we do have a bit of a rotation coming down from Showmaker, but it looks like he's just getting the plant as Pulve is following him there. Little skirmish, it looks like, on the minimap between our 2 mid laners, as, you know, aiming is denying more CS. He's down more than 20 CS at this point in time, so we talked a bit about how aiming very often Gold King, very often played around on the side of DK, but he's not allowed to play the early game here.
It's also, especially after level 1, like, unless you send Showmaker down as well, Lucid showing up in bot lane doesn't do anything. because it's Ashe Braum. So like it's really hard with the level lead that they've been having consistently, as we do get a great look at it here, about a full level ahead of Palu, or is Palu ahead of Callan rather. It's a really big win. Dragon's been taken, Infernal Dragon. That would be absolutely huge for Brian. Imagine a Brand, an Ezreal with an Infernal Drake. Gonna make it a lot easier to chew for a lot of the beefy frontline that is available for DK.
Yeah. The Brand feels so nice as well, especially because he's fed. Because if DK commit to a fight, and Showmaker should be okay, but he's going to take a lot of damage. Everybody else has to go in. They have to charge in order to actually do anything in a team fight, including the Kai'Sa most often. So, you know, you just throw an ult. If it bounces a bunch of times, you're going to be doing insane amounts of damage. And that's just the Brand. So if they build a lot of MR, you have to deal with all the damage from the 280 carries as well.
And they have Braum, right? So that alone, especially when you add K'Sante to the mix as well, with so much zoning just with his W, with his Q free threat, makes it a really hard comp to engage on. The one thing I am worried about, though, is Brion actually playing to that. I don't want to see people like randomly get caught out in side lanes, right? So they need to be very mindful of particularly where Lucid and Showmaker go. I think they generally are the axis through which DK plays, makes plays around the map, and as long as they can keep those two down, they should be fine. And plays like this is
Orange
textbook.
Buff, the return. Will he go 0-3? He is going to get a nice hop off and a flash. So he does get away, but he's still being farmed by Bro early on in this game, and he is going to have to go for a back. So a little bit of a siege up here in the mid turret, though. DK would actually very much like this trade if they can take mid tier 1.
They have free grubs themselves as well, so at the very least they have a little bit of damage. I don't think it's going to be much more than that. And yeah, Mercs are there for Lucid, so he's not going to be too bothered necessarily.
We do see Showmaker going in. Immediately he is going to be stunned down, and now he's got to back away. And Showmaker doesn't really exist anymore. Lucid also took a ton of damage from the Brand, who is really popping off in a big way. You know, honestly, I'm not sure why Youngjae himself went for the Merc trades. I understand it into this comp, of course, but it feels like if you're caught, you're dead as Brand anyway, so...
I agree. Especially when you have K'Sante and Braum. I don't think that you should be going for anything but full damage. You're Brand, you're fed. And
also, Sorkpen boots are just... They're just cracked on him. Like, there is really no other option for Brand most of the time.
I'm with you, Valdez.
Yeah.
And this is the type of... Is this going to make or break the game? Generally, probably not. Right, especially with how Brion have been played, but I do wholeheartedly agree with you. I think this is an expression of what Brion have been going through. I think if Brion have, like, you know, the usual, like, 2-3 wins, they beat Nongshim, contest DRX.
Yeah.
I don't think Youngjae goes Mercs. And yes, he's playing into the Sejuani. Yes, he's playing into LeBlanc, but
it's a lot of burst damage. Even the Kai'Sa's going to build AP. And still, we want to see the Merc there, the Sorkpen. As Envy, maybe he needs Merc treads as well, as he's going to be chunked out by the LeBlanc already.
But they got Herald. This is what I'm talking about. Rayon.
Bro had the lead. Get the objectives. Do stuff. Now they are going to get the bot turret because of this, right?
It's a good goal trade. And maybe they want to prioritize dragons, which I would be okay with, as long as they get it. This is a big gold influx. Dragons spawning in 30 seconds. Everyone needs to get their backs in now if they do want to get them. You know, people like Morgan, I don't think they really need to. Showmaker's not going to be looking to go in on him.
Pulbay is top without TP. He can't be there. Go down to the dragon and be ready. Okay, will he get there on time, though? I mean...
So, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. If that's Morgan towards the top side that makes his late back, it's fine. I think Pulbay will make it between the Cinder speed up as well as his E. Should be in time. But I wanted them to already be in place, and I think DK have a window here where they can aggressively push.
Exactly. That's the issue. And we'll see if DK, if they realize it, right? I mean...
They do. Look.
They're trying to get in position here. There is the one ward that has seen everybody on the side of DK. But yeah, all 5 members of DK, and they drop the Herald in mid as well. Trying to go for a play on this one. Now, Pulbay is here, but the ult is going to be thrown into the Braum as they dogpile in, and it's Showmaker to get the Dragon as a ton of damage is going out to the side of DK, but they get away scot-free. Nobody dies on the side of D plus Kia, and they did a ton of damage to the mid turret. D plus Kia right back in the game.
Oh, that's the problem right there, is the lack of engage for Brion. It's really hard to actually follow through, right? It's much easier said than done but if you don't lock someone down with the Braum passive, like DK can move in and move back. So we see some of the poke lands. I don't think it's quite enough. I really would have liked Morgan to be much more upfront way earlier, because the reason why DK can just walk up like that is because there's no one stopping them, right? Palu, he's great at keeping people at bay, but only passively. And right there, if Morgan is standing further forward, I think there was an angle as Poolbay might be in trouble here.
Showmaker is certainly trying to exert that pressure as well as he possibly can, as he did Ghost Orc Pin Boots, and he is looking to chunk out Poolbay as often as he possibly can. So, yeah, you know, I think it's a little bit of Bro just, this is what happens when you lose a lot. You just kind of lose confidence as a team.
They're still
plays.
They're still fine, right?
Yeah.
It's not like, but it's the feeling, Valdas. Like
Yeah.
we've seen them in this position countless times.
Yeah, we definitely have, and it has been a problem for them as no cleanse. Envy has to flash here in mid. Lucid, very proactive, always looking for picks, especially in the mid lane, and he is able to get another summoner out of a Bro 80 carry.
And Sejuani, it's definitely better than his Maokai, particularly thinking back to the Maokai of Spring. But one of the big pieces of criticisms we saw is, aiming is going to have to cleanse, that we saw for Lucid, particularly when playing against better teams, was that he was actually fairly inactive on the Sejuani. And I think this is a game where we're seeing him against a weaker opponent, sure, but trying to really step that up a little bit. And it has worked out in terms of impact. We're also seeing, because of Brion contesting, we're not really getting a whole lot done. Youngjae actually kind of getting caught up in terms of farm, and ideally, with how early he got that Leandro, you really want to try and keep that lead going and actually build upon it. Isn't really the case. Brion, still a slight gold lead, but the fights have got to look more decisive. You got to find someone either with the arrow, with Braum, or Morgan dragging them into the team and blow them up, because you have a big range advantage and you have a lot of poke.
Yeah, you definitely do. I feel like Showmaker especially is doing a great job in this game of just making his presence well known. He's the one big guy in this game for the side of D+, him and Lucid essentially, as you know, this is what he's doing. He's going to get another chain down onto Poolbay. He doesn't have the kill pressure yet, especially because Poolbay has flash, but Poolbay has to back now. He's not in the lane, he's not farming, he's already behind more than 30 CS, and Showmaker might just get a tier 1 by himself, just by, you know, chunking him out.
And this is what I was talking about, the pressure in side lanes. Showmaker completely running over Poolbay, who just keeps walking back into lane and then getting completely crushed, and they opted into this matchup, right? And it doesn't seem to really be working out.
Nice try, but it doesn't matter. They've gotten Alistair, and the Brand ult is doing a ton of damage to everybody on that front line. This is what I was expecting. Actually, a lot of cinders on the ground here as well. But DK did get the tier 1 turret in mid. So at the end of the day, it's a trade, but now D+ Kia are in the lead.
This is my issue, is exactly what I was talking about in terms of side laning. Like, Kingen in the side lane has prio. He doesn't need to kill Morgan, he just needs to keep Morgan locked underneath a turret. Poolbay has the back, which means that there's an opportunity for DK to find the pressure, and here, yeah, he gets the sidestep, but that sets up. I think Calendar realizing he's probably going to be dead, and they're like, maybe we can turn onto Youngjae. I think he turns, and then Braum shows up, so they know he's dead, but that's fine. You get mid lane turret, you deny one of the most fat members on Brion, ton of farm, and Youngjae, he's the only one still standing, but there we see the gold difference now going in favor. One thing I do want to note, which is actually interesting, is that aiming has gone, or is going for the, I imagine the more AD heavy build. We'll see if he's going to pivot from that, but with Kraken Slayer, generally that is what are going to be expecting, which makes their range issues even worse. I just don't think they care.
they don't care. No.
They definitely don't.
Yeah. I think D+ K are feeling pretty good about the way this game is going so far. And even with some of the laning issues and the fact that Bro had a lead, I don't think they really are feeling that at the mid game.
No.
At this point in time. They have 2 very valuable Drakes individual, and they are setting up to get another one. There is a nice ward there, but it is going to be cleared out here by the plant. And now Bro, they are trying to get mid prio, which is going to be good. And we'll see if they can move into here as look at Kellen's positioning as well. Level 7 though. And you see Paulo, he seems to know, but is going to miss the Q. And now they're about to be flanked by an Alistair over the wall. And look at Pulbe, or rather, Showmaker to get to that backline. Immediately just going to assassinate Envy. Down he goes. No AD carries left over, and the flank comes in. Might just be a clean ace here as in goes aiming, looking for it, as he will be the one guy to go down. But everybody on the side of Bro does perish, and DK now are looking at Baron.
And Brion, unfortunately, looking at the gray screen again. This time, it was the flank set up by Kellen, outsmarting the rest of the team, just barely out of vision there. As yeah, this Nash is going to be gone. And then Showmaker gets a ton of damage here. Envy just, he's just 100-0, right? Like, even if they don't actually get that knockup from the Alistair, I think the fight is already won with Envy going down right from the get-go. Just, you got to check your corners. Corners not a... And they even... Like, that's the worst part. It's like, Paulo's like, wait, like, I got a suspicion something's wrong.
He knew, like, they had a suspicion.
But even then, like, walking up to that brush, as was the case right there, was still a risk to be taken. You need someone to check that. You need someone to keep your backline safe.
Yeah.
And to be fair, like, I think it's also much easier said than done. There's a reason why Showmaker, his LeBlanc, just keeps getting banned very often. And I think we're seeing in this game how much pressure it really exerts.
It's a good ban in general, I think, nowadays, especially when you want to pick stuff like a AP jungler who might not necessarily be able to trade back very efficiently. Bro are going to get one individual Infernal Drake here. That's because DK went after the fight directly to Baron and had to back immediately after. So Bro do get a consolation prize, but at least it's somewhat relevant as a consolation prize. Unfortunately for them, they are losing a lot of their base. A lot of structures are falling. We saw a TP to the bottom lane from Pulbe, and then DK just pushed the top lane and the mid lane. Or at least they're attempting to push the mid lane here, trying to set up a play once again onto Envy, who he's going to avoid the chain, but it doesn't matter. He still gets chunked out.
Yeah, playing a stationary AD carry into a Fat LeBlanc is not great. He doesn't have Death Cap yet. He just hit level 16.
He was doing a lot of the damage with one item.
Yeah, one of the... Well, he has a Horizon Focus as well, right? So
I mean, he was doing it with one.
Way back.
Now, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I think the issue with Pulbe...
He still doesn't have his Muramana on.
No.
It's 25 minutes into the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's... So that early gank was already rough, and then a couple of the laning phases, and then... or laning kills were far or rather... Man, I'm getting concerned about what's happening in front of me. Showmaker found an insane amount of pressure in the lane.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I like the idea behind the Ezreal. I was a little bit worried because I feel like 80 mids into LeBlanc is very snowbally. Like, either you can out-trade her or you can't. I think we've also, I remember we're seeing like Kai'Sa and Varus for the same reason, because they are really bursty. But if you do fall behind, like, you just don't get to contest even remotely. And I'm sure Pulbe and Envy are playing this game one, and maybe probably in line with what we've seen, not game number 2.
Yeah.
And I really like the idea. And then the bot lane plan kind of worked, but also not really, because they still, you know, gave up a bunch of dragons. And then the mid lane plan was a horrendous disaster. And now the game is in a pretty important state for Brion. I don't think it's going to change.
Yep. Flash comes in. Pulbe is 100% dead. Nothing he can do here, just way too far up the lane. No vision in the jungle, and he just gets rotated on. So that's another kill over to Aiming, who, by the way, after the Kraken Slayer, did go for AP, actually. So kind of funny, the build that he did go for here. At the end of the day, he probably could have built a Magi's and died, and it would not have mattered. They probably would still win. But he's going to go for just a heavy AP builds, and they just have so much pressure, so much chunk potential. The poke is insane because LeBlanc is kind of a mobile poke machine anyway. So, yeah, if you're Bro and you're trying to play an AD carry, or any champion, actually, on the side of Bro, you're not going to have a good time. Yeah.
That's their tank. Well, one of them.
I was going to say, you know, Braum is pretty good into the poke, but actually, once the door cooldown is down, even with the door cooldown up, doesn't do very well into LeBlanc.
I wanted to believe. Valdez, I really did.
You know, I'll be honest with you guys. True transparency, I did not believe for a single second.
Well, I
was not on the belief bus, okay?
I didn't say I believed. I wanted to.
You wanted to believe, yeah.
And as we're seeing...
Oh, no. Oh, no.
No.
No, please, no! Cover your eyes!
Hey, that was not too bad a trade. This will be.
Oh, well, he doesn't have Arcane Shift, so he has to flash.
Oh, pull bay.
He got his Muramana.
Yeah, he did.
That's good, right?
Yeah, I guess. Is this how it feels when I'm like, actually, it's not that bad, Valdez. Here's how they can play.
Yeah, you know, we don't have too much to analyze here because it just feels kind of doomed for Bro. They're down 10,000 gold.
Yeah. Hey,
and the
it's only 9,000.
Yep, they did shore up a little bit.
That's not great. Second death cap is about to be done here for aiming.
He got 2 death caps? Wow.
Well,
how did he do that? He must have broken the game again. Aiming and items, always a fun story. Envy.
He does feature in a lot of the funny ones.
He does. Envy, I mean, like you said, they got this lead in the lane, and it just never mattered.
Oh,
because,
God.
Yeah, this is getting rough, as now he's going to be hit by the Q of the Sejuani. He does have a wall in front of him, but Showmaker hasn't even joined the fight yet. It's now, look at the damage, it's just disgusting. Close your eyes again, as in goes aiming, waits for the perfect moment. It is a triple kill for Showmaker, trying to pick up the Penta, and aiming says no for some reason. And I think Pulve would have denied it anyway. He's going to be able to Arcane Shift away. And, well, he might go down anyway. In goes aiming. It is the full house. Showmaker kills, full of aiming kills. And that's going to do it for this game. 30 minutes in, DK pulled the trigger on another fight here in the mid lane. And will end it for their first victory against Bro in the best of 3.
Bot lane struggled a little bit. Kingen got ganked a few times, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. Lucid with a proactive early game, but obviously, they're the main character in this first game, Showmaker, against his former teammate in a way, right? Or at least organization on him in Pool Bay. Just ran him over. Wasn't close, wasn't competitive. After the early gank, even before that, it was not looking too good, but after the gank, there wasn't really a whole lot to be done. The chains were consistent. The mid lane gap was massive. And Brion, I'm sure, are going to do the same thing that we've done before. We're going to see the swap. I like the idea in draft, but I think the barrier of execution may be a little bit too hard for this team. And
yeah,
that is how it, and also, oh man,
I wonder who's going to get the POG. There might be some votes for Lucid. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think Lucid had
He set up Showmaker excellently. I think it's actually totally fair to vote for Lucid.
Yeah.
It just ended up that Showmaker did so much with his lead that
it's
the POG.
It's also like the fact that Young Jay was so fat and they weren't able to do anything at all. He's Brand. Yeah. 16k damage when you're 2-0 early on, and it's because the team just can't find the angles.
Couldn't find the team fights there on the side of Bro. We'll see if Game 2 looks any better, as we will take a break and have the space to break down that first one. We'll be right back.
천천히
나
천천히.
혼자 봐볼게 여기서.
나 멀다.
애쉬.
앞라인. 애쉬 노플 프렌드 노플. 천천히.
애쉬부터 올게 애쉬부터.
야 앞라인부터.
암라인부터.
나
암라인부터 올게 암라인부터 볼게. 가자. 딴테부터 때려 딴테 때려.
애쉬 노플. 드럼 노플. 딴테. 에이지 노플.
가이사 맞아 가이사.
펜타 주나요? 펜타 주나요? 펜타 주나요?
나 안 때렸다.
나비.
레드야 레드.
이즈 노플이다 이거.
할거 바텀 매자 바텀.
이전 받았고.
미드 바텀이 크다 바텀 나가자 형. 바텀.
Sense to me. I think that is definitely warranted after a really rough game number 1. And we will continue with the 5 bans, and that's the face of a man who knows. If it isn't B1 by OK Membro, he is playing Sejuani again. And he's not
Yeah. I would imagine it does get B1'd by Youngjae. I think he can definitely play the champ. And so perhaps Lucid gets to play something else, such as Maokai. We have kind of slowly returned to that prio.
Except for Canyon, because he's Canyon.
Yeah, he can do whatever
Maybe
he wants.
Lucid will play a Lee game. That's fun. LeBlanc's banned though, so I think that Ult of Lee did take a bit of a nosedive. That is definitely one of the combos that you want to play towards. Ahri really hasn't been at the forefront of the meta, so outside of that, maybe they'll play Lee and Syndra, and we'll have a lot of fun. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it, Veldes?
That would be a lot of fun to watch, especially given the players that would be playing them.
I don't think it's happening though, unfortunately.
It's almost definitely not going to happen. The LeBlanc ban rather did definitely happen, which is a good thing after game 1. We mentioned it. They're going to move to the blue side. They're going to ban LeBlanc. And Rumble definitely deserves to be that final ban there. And let's see that Sejuani.
All right, hear me out. Sejuani, Nartalia, or Ezreal Nar, maybe. You know, if you wanna get crazy with it. And then Ezreal gets picked by, you know, whoever didn't end up picking him.
They're picking a jungle here based on the amount of talking that Lucid is doing. So maybe Gnar in a jungle?
There you go. That's one. Okay. I would love that. That would make me very happy. Lee, obviously, no longer banned. Was banned last week because of a bug. Now completely fine. Will have not been winning. Lucid, not necessarily the standout that he is on the... Yeah. Not the standout on AP junglers that he is on. I think the AD junglers divide the lead, definitely his most iconic ones, as it's most likely aiming Ezreal, but there is, of course, some flex potential. So, Renekton to Leah.
Ezreal jungle, perhaps.
Man, remember that. That was a thing.
Yeah.
There's a world
I feel
skin.
like you can.
There's a world skin for that, guys.
Yeah, it was Haru.
Yep.
Right? Who did get that? I think I actually have that skin.
Yeah.
The Azir,
what am I
the
talking
Renekton, the Sejuani.
Oh yeah, the flips. The
flips for objectives.
Honestly, it's on me that I called for Talia knowing that Karis is playing. We all know what was going to happen, and then
Hey, look,
Lucid got to
it's
hover
Maokai.
some fun champions before locking in Maokai.
Maokai's great into this comp. I think you have to pick it here, and they will.
It's gotten better. You know, it's still not what you want Lucid on, but it's not the debacles of Spring where he would like flash W onto people
and then die.
and then just die immediately.
Yeah. No, I think he's gotten better at it. I think it's very strong with what they have already, with the boomerangs, the mystic shots. You create a lot of space. You're great against the heavy engage from OK Savings Bank Breon. Braum is going to be banned. Definitely a strong ban.
See what else they add. Gnar into Renekton, definitely a good matchup for Kingen, as long as he can respect Morgan a little bit, or Youngjae rather, a little bit more than he did in the previous game. This is the most obvious Leona on B4 that I think I've ever seen. And there it is banned away. So that is definitely a good shout. There is still the flex potential. Showmaker could play Ezreal mid here. That's the direction that they want to go into. We are going to hover some stuff, but we're not going to get carried away until it actually gets locked in.
Ziggs.
Is that's 6 mid, I imagine.
Any
We don't know
APA
for sure.
enjoyers?
Yeah, well, we're not sure yet.
We're not sure. It definitely could still be bought. You can absolutely play Ezreal into Azir. You just Arcane Shift his ult, and you're totally fine.
We'll see.
Yeah. It's just kind of weird to pick Ziggs now if you're playing a bot without knowing what you're playing into, right?
Yeah, I imagine that they are actually looking to put it mid, which is fun.
Yeah, just based on that pick position of the Ziggs.
I would agree with you. Also,
But
I think it's good to have, and I know Maokai's probably going to go Leandris, but I like having at least some sort of AP topside. That kind of confirms it.
Yeah.
Ezreal Karma here for aiming in Kellen.
It's not going to be Ziggs Karma. I'll tell you that. I really don't think so, at least. Yeah, should be Ezreal Karma. Just a classic duo bot lane. Feeling really good. But the interesting part of it is really that Showmaker's going to be playing Ziggs mid into Azir.
APA, man. Yapton America.
Yappa.
Showing his influence beyond the borders. LCS going to be, if I remember correctly, back again this weekend as well. Bit of a rough time zone for us. I mean,
if we wake up early, it's not bad.
Yeah, but we do work nights.
Yeah, I do often get home at 12:30 a.m.
Yeah,
That does happen.
And you don't, and then you need to actually calm down and, freshen up, take off the makeup so you don't fall asleep. That early is, Brian. The bro fans, man, the bro leavers, they're giving it their best.
Jen's health. Oh, it's happy 6th anniversary. I said earlier it was 5th anniversary, but my bad.
Kingen.
6th anniversary for Kingen.
He's been around. He's seen incredible lows, 10th place with DRX, into incredible highs, winning a world championship.
Winning Worlds is pretty good.
It's about as good as winning Worlds Finals MVP. It's not bad, Valdez.
He hasn't won LCK yet, right?
I don't think
I don't
so.
believe so.
Oh.
Maybe that's his next goal. Either way, guys, we are getting ready to hop on the rift for game number 2. OK Savings Bank Brian up against D+ Kia.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we go. Game 2. Bro, get the blue side. But now they got to deal with Showmaker's Ziggs, which I'm sure they are probably not ready for.
I don't know if we're ready. I don't even know if Showmaker's ready. I know he just loves locking in stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anyone that has a more funny record than Ruler when it comes to winning Worlds before you win domestically. Because that was, what, 5 years, because he won in 2017, and then he won his first title in 2022 with Genji.
Did take him a while there.
Yeah, Rip did.
And then he left us. He abandoned us.
Yeah,
we love Ruler.
I still miss Ruler.
Wish we had him.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. We did get Viper, who is also very good, but I wish Ruler would come back. We'll see. Maybe one day. Showmaker, Ox isn't here, and we're still getting mid lane Ziggs. He would love this.
Yeah.
Very appreciative.
I'm a big Ziggs enjoyer myself as well.
I know you are.
Lucid tried to invade, and instead he's going to have to go back to his jungle.
Ouch.
Unlucky.
Painful, unfortunate for Lucid there. Youngjae is actually starting on the same side. Starts at the Raptors. I think they had a ward there early, so I imagine that's what spotted him. So going to be a nice little advantage here for Youngjae. I think Lucid got like a tiny Raptor, so not going to be feeling great about that.
So Showmaker hit level 2 first, and he is going to miss his second Q, but he's already done a nice amount of harass here to Karis. As meanwhile, down at the bottom lane, 2v2 level 2s as the shield comes in, aiming, looking to continue with the pressure, but not going to overextend. But it does look like aiming is in a pretty good spot in this lane.
It is so telling to the current state of Ezreal that one of his best counter picks of old, which is the Kai'Sa specifically, just doesn't feel like it really wins the matchup anymore. Is
DRX.
Oh my god.
Chovy. DRX Chovy. 2020.
DRX Chovy.
Yeah, DRX Chovy.
Man, that was a lineup. Doran, Pioshik, Chovy, Deft, and Carrier.
Oh my god.
I know.
What a team.
That was a historic team.
Yeah, that was the year that I realized Carrier was the best support in the world. It took him a while to actually hit it, but he did. Young Jay.
He did waste a lot of time with his bot lane gank shenanigans and didn't really get that much here.
Yeah, he was level 2 because he didn't hit level 3 from his 3 camps because Lucid stole the little raptor. So it was actually, I guess, a Lucid win at the end of the day.
It really is, especially because he also showed bot.
Showmaker does not have his satchel, but it doesn't seem to matter. He's just going to walk it off.
Yeah.
He does have walk. He utilizes walk. It's super effective.
You've been playing a lot of Poker Rogue, haven't you?
Yeah, me and Atlas have just been grinding that a lot. He's been doing it a bit more than I have, but I have also been doing that. And it's been super effective for ruining my sleep schedule. Here's Palu trying to stop a back or something, but instead just going to get chunked out.
I mean, that's not a bad trade. Cancels the back, gets a cleanse. I think he'll take it like this from Young Jay. I don't know if the setup is that good. As we see, Lucid's like, well, if you at first you don't succeed, let's try again. Raptors ×2. The top side of Young Jay's jungle has not been taken. My guy, you need to farm.
No.
Like, this doesn't work.
Kill orange buff.
They're in shambles.
Young Jay's taking turret shots, and he might die here as King and hitting Meganar does get the wallop down onto Morgan, and is totally fine in the 1v2.
Oh, Veldas. Oh, Young Jay.
I'm sorry, Chronicler.
Yeah, that's a full-fledged disaster. So that, because basically you flip a lot of the early game just on that play right there. Because trying the gank when it's very obvious that the gank is coming, and then not having the gank, like you got flash, but that's fine. If you're getting flash for a gank is great if your top side is not up. But Young Jay is going to be monstrously far behind. He does have a back advantage, so he'll
it's okay. He's got catch-up experience.
Well, yeah, I know. And he'll be okay. You know, he'll be taking his camps and they'll respawn. But it's still a lot of gold that I think Lucid gets, and it's a lot of experience. And Kingen obviously not in the slightest inconvenienced by what transpired. He's a little bit behind when it comes to the experience, so I guess it's fine. But I'm not looking for fine here, Veldas, because I think if things are fine for Brion, they will not be fine by 15 minutes. They need to be great. Right now, they're not.
Yeah. They were pretty great at the beginning of Game 1, but they weren't able to put the cap on it. And as you mentioned, if they go even in the early game with D plus Kia, they're probably going to get rolled. So let's see. Young Jay coming on in. Did go for a ping, but now he has been spotted and potentially in some danger here as he is Sejuani. Karis level 6. They will respect that. Ziggs at this point in time with the tier is really not going to be doing much. So not going to commit to the 2v2.
Lucid also doesn't have his ult yet. Doesn't want to run the risk. Making too aggressive of a play. Will be some of the grubs picked up here by Young Jay, as they might be making play towards bot. Don't forget, Showmaker has his ultimate available. Even just an ult, you know, even the poke.
No.
Yeah.
Just going to plop it down, helps clear the wave.
Still big. Even if they don't take damage, you know, they need to walk up. And, yeah, oh man. At some point, they're just going to rotate Showmaker over, and he's going to get this bot lane turret.
Oh, yeah. They absolutely should.
So free.
They absolutely should. I mean, he could even start coming down now.
That is
he doesn't have his TP, though.
That is taking some of Aiming's gold, so
yeah.
But no, I'm joking. With these backs, I actually think that is what's going to happen. Going to rotate Aiming towards mid, hopefully.
Right.
Because they really should.
Just send the Ziggs bot and put a satchel on the turret and take the plates.
I forgot.
And then go back mid.
Yeah, I forgot which team it was that did this. It was like, I think it was DRX that actually played towards it. Was it DRX with Teddy? That got him like...
That sounds right.
15... Like, because DRX is a very, like, lower middle of the pack team.
But they're the only team that seemingly knows how to use Ziggs.
If they don't, I'm actually going to be annoyed.
They're not.
On behalf... Well, they still have some time. But on behalf, I know Ox will be very upset.
I'm very upset right now.
Well, yeah. Well, that makes two of us. They still have time. Hopefully they will. As long as they get the plates, it's fine. But they're really... That's the reason why. Make that free. Yundo also mad. That's good. We should collectively...
Well, Yeah, the thing is like he can't just waltz down there and you know, drop it down. It's not in range of the satchel yet. And also he'd have to do a 1v2 against Envy. So for now, he's not going to try for it. Now, if they dive Envy and Paulo, they might just be able to get it regardless of what Ziggs does.
Okay, we have Prio mid. There we go. Yep. Ult's about to come back up. This is it. It's happening, Veldas.
He's got a big bomb.
I can feel it.
And he's not afraid to use it. About 2 seconds away, and now this bottom lane is in so much trouble. They're just up against the wall. They have to flash away from the bomb, and they do get out of there. But they're being zoned away once again as the Mantriku comes out and misses, and Paulo and Envy will survive.
That could have been a lot better, Veldas. I'm a little disappointed because they didn't sync up Lucid's ult and Showmaker's ult, and they didn't really get a whole lot outside of a cleanse. I think they got Paulo's flash as well as the wards.
Yep.
Oh, Youngjae gonna get spotted here.
Spotted for days. They know exactly where he is. Morgan's playing aggressively on the top side of the map while this is happening. So Lucid can potentially come in here and try to force a 2v1 knowing where Youngjae is. But Morgan is going to drop a ward. And now we got an engage on the bottom side here. Kellen in a little bit of trouble, but Paulo maybe in more as 1Q is going to line it up. And Kellen, oh, the long range ult from Youngjae does knock him down and trades a kill back over to Envy.
Big win there for Envy. Envy actually was falling very far behind because of the continued attention paid towards the bot side by Lucid. Showmaker throwing a couple of assistant ults as well. But that kill is gonna put him in a much better spot in this game. Very, very big win here for Brian, not alone by itself. And I think we've been so busy complaining about the fact that Showmaker hasn't taken the bot lane turret yet, that there's still time. You know, we don't have to actually get mad yet. Even though I feel like we probably will end up being so. You know, Morgan's actually doing a great job towards the top side in isolation. This matchup working out nicely. I think it's important to note that specifically with Renekton into Gnar, there are a lot of windows where you can be in trouble with Gnar because of the easy gap close that's available for the Renekton, and with the early attention paid by Youngjae, King is going to be a little bit behind on tempo. So that ends up being a slight win for Brion, but mid lane pretty substantially behind, jungle pretty substantially behind, and bot lane a little bit better now with this kill, but I say better, he's still down 25 CS, and Aiming also got the kill.
Aiming got the kill here on to Paulo.
And yeah, Paulo just takes too much damage there. It's pretty straightforward, right? Like Hex flashes into the Q. Then this, nicely done by Youngjae. There's not really a way out there for Kellen because if he walks back, he will just get autoed and die. Ends up going down. And right now, bot lane turret getting lower and lower. The poke working out. We have a relevant dragon. No dragon actually has been taken just yet.
Seems like the Korean broadcast is really highlighting the Karma. We've been calling for Ezreal Karma many, many times, especially now that Ezreal is back in the meta. It's just such a dominant lane. And even without all the attention from the jungle and mid, you can put on so much pressure with this duo.
All right, this is it. Showmaker is going to TP towards display.
He's TPing mid. And the True Shot Barrage is going to hit two people here. They're really trying to get on top of Lucid, who does flash away, but the Steal of the Dragon comes in. Kingen is here. Lucid's still low, but Envy is isolated by himself in the backline. Now Morgan going to TP into this play himself, but he is 1v4, and he will swiftly be traded back. Eventually, they give the kill over to Showmaker, who now has 2 kills under his belt.
What? Go mid! No, don't go mid. Go bot! Oh, Showmaker! This is your opportunity. You just got the double. You can get first turret blood.
I want to give a little extra chance over to the bros. You know, a lot of people paid their bro tax today. So they're like, okay, I understand. But yeah, he could have just literally walked bot and dropped a satchel on that. And it would be dead before 14 minutes. But instead, it's just going to stay alive.
I credit to Brion. They take a lot of poke, but I actually like their willingness to go in here. I think the problem is they over-invest, right? Paulo uses his full set of cooldowns, and that play then works if you actually 100-0 Lucid, which they don't, and then they take so much damage coming through. The backline is completely fine, and Showmaker is legitimately just throwing...
That's a Ziggs impression.
It's really good.
In Korean.
Really? Showmaker does have big Ziggs energy.
He does,
Like,
yeah. And Vagar,
Yep, as well.
kind of similar. As I think it's Yundo, might be G-Sun. One of our producers is getting very angry about the Ziggs not going bot. Very sad about it.
It's
understandable.
and,
It's
and
Yundo.
realistically, like, it's not going to matter for the outcome of the game. But it is one of those things.
Well,
like,
they could take a free earlier lead.
yeah. Well, like they.
Now, it looks like Aiming's going to get the turret anyway, because everybody went mid on the side of Bro and or top. So Kingen is very dead, absolutely 100% super dead, as 3 people will isolate and kill him. And Aiming was given a free lane in the bottom side. So at least he got the turret.
Yeah, but they could have gotten both. And you know what? Maybe
They could have.
They will win.
But you know what? They're going to get 2 plates. And now they're getting even more kills on Apollo, who's having a rough time in this one. They can absolutely get this turret. If Showmaker has satchel cooldown, Aiming...
he just used it.
They don't, yeah. I guess if he had it, they could have just tanked the turret and gotten it low enough. But instead, Morgan also going to get a free full turret, rather, of plates in the top side before 14 minutes. There it goes.
Those 10 seconds, Veldas, ended up making all the difference.
They did. DK are still very far ahead.
Doesn't matter. No, 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 it doesn't. We're just molding.
It's just not very efficient.
As
play.
we're taking a look here at the topside play. Nice overload here from Brion, especially Mininard. There's just no way to realistically outplay that. But because they invest 3 people, might have actually wanted to not show, and then maybe DK couldn't go quite as hard. As we take a look right there, Lucid just comes in from the bot side, where they are obviously way stronger. Gonna be the very easy pickup, and this gold lead is not looking good here for Brian. 3K, DK's composition, obviously skills amazing. Really the one weakness it has is that I don't think it's like snap engage is that good. You know, Maokai, if you engage, we've seen that can lead to problems. Same for Gnar, really. Doesn't really provide anything. Great CC, but nothing. But they have Ziggs and Ezreal, so like, who cares that you can't engage?
Just don't engage, just poke them. And
Snaplings, and also engaging into you
and Karma
is a nightmare.
boomerangs.
Oh god, yeah.
Every champ has got something to throw at the enemy, and or disengage as well. So it's a great comp here from DK. And Morgan's on the flank. This is one way to deal with poke comps, is to find a really good flank. Now he's going to be spotted. TP is coming in, and Karis not going to find the divide. Finally gets in there and divides the Maokai. Showmaker, though, is isolated and killed. Down he will go, but the roots are coming down here on the Karis, who will have to back away as Morgan taken for a little walk by the Karma. As you see, they're trying to take this 4v5. Morgan is isolated and taken down, as Bro is not able to help him out all too much.
The one weakness of Ziggs is getting engaged on, and there the angles from Brian prove a little bit too much for Showmaker, as yeah, the Herald should definitely go their way. Dragons have been very low priority this game, so that would be a possibility here. In 20 seconds, Cloud Drake's going to come through. A lot of good dragons that are still available here. Take another look at this play. Really, most of this is just Morgan, I think, with a good angle. And then here, the TP, it feels okay until they realize that they're getting flanked on from 2 angles, so there's not really a way out. Showmaker has the flash deal from Youngjae, and then ends up just getting taken down. And then Kellen actually, good job there, locking down, because if he doesn't, Morgan just walks it up, so they at least get the trade kill. And DK, still with the better health bars, still will get the Herald, and still in a great position in this game.
Yeah. We've been talking a lot about the Ziggs. It's actually Aiming who is trying to pick up another Gold King award, potentially here in week 5, I believe we are. Didn't have a great start to it in game 1, but here in game 2, I wouldn't be surprised if he has the most gold on the Rift.
Maybe that was why that turned. Had to go the way of the Gold King.
He needed the plates, not Show Me.
Right now is about to hit that Manamune spike, and I like this aggressiveness from Brian, but it's going to be about the fight. The dragon is going to be gone.
Yeah, Youngjae goes in trying to steal the Drake, but instead nearly dies. In goes Envy into 5 people. Is doing a lot of damage here to Aiming, but eventually he gets taken out as a very optimistic play, I would say, from Envy. And the rest of the team is now just being run off here. As Morgan's super low, Youngjae looks like he will get away, but can't say the same about the Croc, as they have ample amounts of CC. Even the Gnar into the wall, just for good measure. as Aiming picks up his 4th kill, and Showmaker gets 2 of his own to match it. DK are running away with this game.
Slowly looking worse and worse here. Valdez, not a whole lot to be done, as this was, I think, the final chance for Brion to make it happen. Youngjae doesn't get the smite, and then we have a very split call here. Karis can't go in. So if
he disengaged a long time ago.
Well, not only that, but like if he wasn't rooted and he like somehow finds a shuffle when Envy, that like with Renekton and Kai'Sa, like that play can maybe work. But instead, they just throw themselves to their death, and that's the end of it. And right now, TK taking a 5.5k gold lead. Dragon went over to them as well. It's a Hextech Drake, but I don't think we're going to be seeing the soul in this one, Valdez. Paulo caught between Ziggs and Nara. I don't think he's getting out.
No, he will not. Down he goes. He just accepts his fate. No need to flash there, as he does take his 5th death in this game. Not going too well for him here. And Steve Kia, you know, they don't have the Baron, but it feels like they do with the amount of map pressure that they have. And they're just utilizing their lead here to get the Ziggs into a position to do an insane amount of damage to the turrets. They will be taking out this turret, and they don't even need the satchel to do so. Down it will go, and that is, I think, 2 turrets, maybe 3, that were just scooped up here by DK.
Now we're looking at a 7k gold lead. Oh.
Can I get 8k?
Yeah, you
8k
will.
gold lead?
We will. We will.
How about 9k?
So how's your day been, fellas? what have you been up to? Because I know it was raining a lot. And
I went to
all the way over.
Cafe with my wife before work.
Had
some coffee.
The good cafe near your house.
We just went to Starbucks.
Okay.
This time.
Okay. That's a bit disappointing. I really like the.
Yeah. There's some great cafes, but we just, you know, kept it simple today. We like to mix it up. You know, went to that one recently. So
Sure.
Little mix up. And then I drove to work in the rain. And
that must have been a lot.
Yeah, it took me about an hour.
No, that's not too bad.
Wasn't so bad.
Could have been worse.
Definitely could have been worse.
Okay.
Didn't run into any flooding. There was some flooding in Seoul and in Korea, but managed to avoid much of that. And yeah, what did you do, Chronicler? What did you do today?
I made a really nice mac and cheese yesterday.
That was yesterday.
Yeah, well, I ate leftovers this morning.
Oh, okay.
That was great. Did some mopping.
You helped out our man Ox.
Yeah, there were some flooding issues, and then went to work, and I was like, man, remember when
You bought me a protein bar?
I did buy it, yeah, because I went to go to another place to get Brendan an actual bowl of food, but then the place was closed, unfortunately.
On a Wednesday.
Yeah, and
during the day.
Normally they're open during this
Near
time,
a bunch
so
of offices.
I don't know what was up with that. It's very unfortunate. Maybe it's like the break time. But I feel like I've gotten food there around this time before. So that was very tragic. And then I got here and it's like, remember when DK versus Brion that was a real rivalry.
Yeah.
When DK was at their best, Brion just somehow found a way.
Tell us the story. The story of Umpty.
Well, it is the story of it's the story of Delight. Back when, you know, saying Delight was a good support was still kind of a hipster thing to do.
Yeah.
You're like,
we knew.
Man,
we knew.
We knew. We talked about it.
We knew
all
ahead of
the
time. Yeah.
LOL King Lava.
Oh man, yeah.
I know.
Remember LOL King Lava?
Who just randomly would wake up and be like, what if I gapped Showmaker today?
And he did sometimes.
And that was 2021 Showmaker, okay? Like, I think Showmaker is still top tier mid. But the 2020, 2021 Showmaker, a little different.
Yeah. He was on another level at that point. There was a lot of discussion about, was it Chovy? Was it Showmaker? Who deserves first MVP for the mid lane? A lot of discussion around that time, I remember.
Good times. Yeah, that's when I just joined the LCK.
Lucid? Okay, Showmaker's going to get it. You know what? Showmaker needs some extra gold, so
yeah, he's really,
give it to him.
He's really lacking for funds, Valdez.
Yeah.
He's down 18 CS. It's very sad.
Getting absolutely gapped by Karis here.
Yeah.
In CS.
It's because he made all those rotations to side lanes to pick up.
Yeah, all those plates he got for free.
Yeah.
With his satchel and his passive. No, we don't need those. They are going to get a Hextech Drake here first one of the game. And it doesn't look like they need Showmaker. He's just going to stick top and eat the waves. I'm very happy to see Ziggs in the meta nowadays, just everywhere, not just in the bottom lane. Showmaker maybe waking up early, watching some APA, saying, hey, I can do that. And I can definitely do that against Bro. And here he is, 5-1-2.
I love that there's so many troll picks that he keeps hovering, that it gives you some hope, and then he locks in other random stuff. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we get another Diana game of him for some reason.
Why not?
Why not? When he sees the angle.
Let the show begin.
It really, again, for Showmaker, and this has been true for as long as DK has been good, and obviously recently I think his form has been more up and down, but the team just relies on him so much. Like,
yeah, it definitely does.
To such an insane extent. Even when you go look at a lot of the Gen G losses, it's because in crucial points, like Chovy just gets the better of him, he's just not able to make it work. And, you know, Heavy is the hat that wears the crown. For Showmaker, if he doesn't perform, it's also why Gen G is so good, because if someone doesn't perform, everyone else is like...
Yeah, they have a lot of crowns over there. Everybody's wearing a crown.
Yeah, I don't know what form of government they use, but it's very successful. Well, vision. I don't think it'll matter, Valdez.
They could just start it. I mean, everybody here on the side of Bro is kind of just hanging around mid lane. We saw the side lane is in absolute shambles with Morgan, who was down 2 levels.
Yeah, I know they have vision. I like the Observer showing it, but does it matter?
I don't think so. I personally don't think so, because their turn is insanely strong. They don't have a lot of engage, but you've got Maokai, and by insanely strong...
Aiming is just...
Yeah, wait! Yeah, so this is the turn I was talking about, I guess. Their ability to just poke them down before they even get there. They're not even there! They can't even get to the Baron! The Morgan's here, okay, he's gonna try to turn onto aiming, and now we've got a lot of damage on aiming. He's in a bit of trouble. Kellen also is very low, but aiming is gonna survive. They can't even take down the Ezreal, as Kellen is going to be the one guy who goes down. Everybody's chasing an Ezreal while Morgan dies in mid. And so it was a very messy fight, but D plus Kia come out ahead anyway.
I gotta say, that's a win for Breon. Can't believe I'm saying this.
I guess so. I guess so.
No, it is. They okay, well, they still get Baron, so I guess win is relative. I don't know, Valdez. I'm scrambling on this one.
The Bro fans win because they got to see more action.
There you go. That's the angle. Yeah. Yeah, aiming already getting everyone to that. Like, that's not even necessary. It's a bit gratuitous, you know? Like, they were already going to take that match.
Yeah. Well, Lucid's
maybe dead.
He's got Flash.
Nah.
I think he's just going to not use it. There's the passive.
Phase rush.
Taking a bunch of damage. He's just running away.
Oh, he has the Flash.
And here comes Young Jae. The Flash away from Young Jae, and he's going to get away. Meanwhile, yeah, Palu died, guys. Yeah, there you go. Envy? Okay. All right, take it away, Chronicler.
I don't want to take it. You take it away, Valdez.
Hey, give us that heavy-hitting analysis.
Yeah, I'm not even going to do it as a joke. DK are monstrously far ahead. There's nothing that Breon can do. And I do not know if they can kill aiming, because he is monstrously fed, and he has a Karma.
Yeah, well,
at the ready.
Young Jae is on the flank, and no cleanse available. That's a lot of damage. There's 2 carries from Bro who are here. Surely you can kill aiming, right? Okay, they finally got him. And now Karis is probably going to die for it. He does have Flash, and Palu's nearby. I don't think Lucid can kill him alone, although he is trying. And there's the Flash eventually.
Wow,
and you know
what? Pingen?
Pingin's just in the base, and I guess Lucid's just going to run down Karis? Is anybody going to help him? No. The answer is no. Pingin's going to kill him, as Kingen does eventually go down to Morgan here. And now Morgan might meet the same fate. Lucid getting so much value, by the way, out of his passive here, just healing insane amounts in this game. And, well, Young Jae, not very long for this world himself, although he is going to dodge the rest of it, and he will be totally fine.
Yeah, he's able to make it out. Doesn't have Warmux yet, but is on this fountain, so not going to be too worried. They keep the base alive, but at what cost, Valdez? they'll keep.
Just at the cost of our sanity. It's
Well, yeah, and then the Pro Leafers, you know, this is what they
Yeah.
come for. I feel bad for Morgan and Paulo because they're the ones that gonna have to. They just have to keep trying, right? Try and do stuff. Very straightforward here. Fed Ezreal with a Karma, you're not really gonna get away from.
Oh.
That was so much damage on that last Q.
Yeah.
As we take another look here, actually nicely done by Youngjae. Gets the ultimate on top of aiming, and then I can't believe it's this close. As Lucid is playing Arena. Like, this is not a Summoner's Rift Maokai.
He feels like he's playing Earth. Like he has cooldowns forever. He just keeps rooting them.
Oh, yeah.
He has learned the ways of Maokai, I guess. Well, at least in games where he's allowed to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, Brion, I don't think is a worthy opponent for Lucid Maokai.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, third inhib's gonna fall, and the Nexus soon to follow, Valdez.
The Nexus looks like it is not very long for this world here. In game number 2, Lucid gonna throw out an ult, just try to zone them away. Karis once again not able to do much, takes his Ziggs bomb and a True Shot barrage to the face. Is gonna heal up in the fountain. Maybe an angle, but Redemption is online now for Kellen, you would imagine. Suppose there's a chance that Lucid got it, but I doubt it. And they are holding on to their base. You know, they do have a Azir, they've gotten a Azir turret, and Youngjae nearly dies to the Ezreal. And here comes Morgan on the flank. They found aiming once again, but the shields are many, and Envy rather is going to fall as he does go to the back line, tries to assassinate aiming, who will not be assassinated, he says. And DK just going to win this game number 2. Youngjae gonna throw one out. He actually does hit aiming, funnily enough, but I don't think aiming's falling in this game once again. The Gnar comes in, aiming, just gonna flash away from Karis, who has no chance. Down goes Youngjae, and Morgan may be the lucky one here, or is he? As he eats a Ziggs bomb, and down he goes at the very end, and down will go the Nexus. GG, DK gonna take the 2-0 tonight.
Nothing too surprising here in this game number 2. A dominant performance from DK. Don't really see a lot of angles for Brion in this one. Karis tried his best, not end up actually enough, as the DK, they were expected to take this with a quick and comfortable 2-0. I think that's what we saw of them. Game number 1, were a little bit rough around the edges. Game number 2 wasn't even close, Valdez.
Yeah. They came here, they did their job. Showmaker had a bit of fun. Aiming also had some, I think Lucid also had a bit of fun. They had a lot of fun, to be honest, in game 2. A lot of pressing W, the twisted advance from Lucid. And who do you think gets Pog for this one?
I think it's between Lucid and aiming. I think Lucid, to me, as is known, I think even Showmaker isn't that. Like, Showmaker actually had a lot of impact on the side lanes, but he didn't get the plate. So I know Oaks would be disappointed in me if I voted for him. I imagine you would be as well.
Yeah.
I think aiming had a lot of heroics, but I think Kellen on the Karma ended up having a really good game. A lot of impact around the map. Lucid really did outpath Youngjae by a very substantial amount. And D plus Kia will, right now take over second place again, but Humble Life obviously is going to be playing next. And them against Kwangdong actually going to be big if Kwangdong end up getting an upset win there. Could be huge for the standings in the LCK.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, Quantum Freaks have been having a little bit of trouble recently, but
yeah.
And Humble Life Esports, I feel like the opposite kind of.
Oh, yeah.
Getting a lot of wins against strong opponents. But yeah, just taking a look at some of the plays in this game. A lot of times it feels like, bro, even in even game situations, they're not really playing as a squad. It feels like they got the message from Edgar, which was, you guys need to play more aggressively. You need to make plays. You need to be proactive.
And I still think they look better than they did at the beginning of summer and even some parts of spring. Like, it's hard to see when the game is this lopsided, but I think there are improvements. It's just the problem is against DK, like a little bit of improvement and like 20% more productivity isn't really going to change the fact that their team fights are as disjointed. Thank you very much. Are as disjointed as they are, as we see Lucid playing Earth here. This is the second time this year that we've had these tank junglers with like unreasonably cheap builds buying. Before it was tank items, it was Koenig, Broken, and Frozen Heart.
좀 치면 W.
And now it's Warmogs and
Zeeks.
Zeeks every game.
네네네.
야나 봐줘야 돼.
Renekton's
Yeah.
nice.
Fun for like a patch.
아지르 갬비.
You know?
Yeah.
That was it.
레드 잡고.
We had some fun
합 차이가 말이 안 돼.
for a patch. The top gap is absurd, someone said.
이제 살려.
Why is Renekton so strong? As they're just making fun of Kingen.
I was thinking.
Coming for the toss. He's still mimicking Ziggs.
끝내.
GG.
This team is so unserious. I love it.
It's very unhinged. Showmaker did more damage than Ezreal, who was aiming, who was extremely fed. So, yeah, Ziggs pretty good. I don't think this was a great game to say, like, hey, this is
It was
evidence that Ziggs should be in every single game, but it's good.
I think especially with Maokai, Ox and I played a lot of Arena Ziggs Maokai because there's so much you see. Like it's so easy. One of the big weaknesses of Ziggs, it's all skill shots. It doesn't matter when you have as much lockdown.
Just hold them in place and win the game. That's what DK did against Bro in this series. We're going to send it off to the space to break the...
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POG interview translation, joined by Showmaker and aiming on the side of D plus Kia, who just took a clean 2-0 victory over OK Savings Bank Brion. Congratulations! Thank you. Showmaker, you get to finish round 1 with a victory. How do you feel? No, I'm really happy that I'm able to finish off strong. I really want to do well in round 2. And aiming. And you finally got the POG you've been longing for. You've won the Gold King Award many times, but this is your first POG, so how do you feel? First of all, it feels great to get POG. And honestly, I really wanted a Gold King this week, or this past week, so what a shame. And Showmaker, in Game 1, you took your comfort pick, LeBlanc, and banned 4 mid-champions. So what was the meaning behind this? You know, Pobe happens to be a really good player, and I really wanted to focus on the mid lane. So that really made it easier for me to play. And yeah, Bro actually flex-picked Ezreal mid and kept playing mind games afterwards with some potential swaps. So did you expect to play against a mid Ezreal? To be honest, I really like the mid Ezreal pick, so I'm always wary of that pick. And I've always thought that I wanted to play him, but and I feel like Pobe did a really good job playing Ezreal. And so, what is the Ezreal-LeBlanc matchup like? So Ezreal is really strong early game. So LeBlanc is doesn't have the upper hand at first, but I feel like my teammates supported me so well throughout the game that made it easier for me. So aiming with the swap, you played Kai'Sa against Ashe and Braum. So did they give you trouble at all? You know, with Ezreal, I really thought that they were going to play Ezreal mid. I had forgotten about it, but with the Ashe, I told myself as long as I'm able to farm CS really well during the laning phase, that I would be in a good place. And Showmaker, in Game 1, you kept taking lots of resources, and compared to how you usually let your teammates take them, was hogging these resources in Game 1 a better decision strategically? To be honest, I just had a lot of leisure to take these resources based on what was going on in the map. So that's why. So let's take a look at this next replay where the funneling of the LeBlanc really paid off. So what did you see here? So Kellen was actually positioned really well, and we had a really good Gnar Rage Bar. So I think we really wanted to take the risk and open up the team fight here. It's just that the support and our top had such great positioning, and we knew that we would win 100%. And aiming in Game 2, it looks like for your R5 pick, you guys were stuck on picking your support, and then we noticed your Karma pick. So can you walk us through the drafting phase? So yeah, because we were able to see the enemy's comp, we were just really contemplating on which pick we should go for. We were really high in confidence, so I think Kellen was just feeling really confident with Karma, so we went with that. So Amy, this was your first Ezreal game of the year. So how was playing him on stage for after a long time? Ezreal is so fun to play. I really want to play Ezreal on stage more often, and I believe that I am the best Ezreal. So yeah, honestly, you can expect me to play him a lot more in the future. So all the other teams out there, they better watch out. And in Game 2, Showmaker Big Ziggs made a return after 1,491 days. And he was played in other regions, but it's been forever in the LCK, so what made you pick him? You know, since last year, I've really wanted to play Ziggs. And I noticed that APA in the other region, he really plays Ziggs very often. And even though Ziggs didn't really look very good, he made Ziggs look so good. And I've been really just waiting for this moment to pick Ziggs. So you got some inspiration from APA? Yeah, honestly, there's really no other way that I can utilize Ziggs most of the time. So yeah, I definitely got some inspiration. And let's take a look at the next replay. Were you sure that you're going to survive here, Amy? Honestly, we noticed that the enemy's positioning was that they're really crowded and they're also surrounded by our team. So I believe that as long as I can survive that, my team would be able to clean up. And Showmaker, you really channeled your inner Ziggs and became Ziggs himself. Let's take a look at this replay. It was right at this moment. Do you want to do a Ziggs impression for us again? Where'd that bomb go? And also, at the very end of the game, you were doing his impression. Would you like to reenact it in front of your fans? Where'd that bomb go? What a perfect impression. And so the day after tomorrow, July 19th, will be Kingan's 6th year anniversary. Would you like to congratulate him? Congratulations! And Aiming, you know, you've been around for a very long time. I'm looking forward to seeing how long you go. You mean to say to play with you for a long time, right? Yep. I want him to play with me for a long time. And as your first opponent of round 2, you will meet Genji again. What is your resolution? The match day against Genji will be my birthday. And last year, Keen and Lehans asked me what I wanted for my birthday, and I said, you know, I want to win for my birthday. And so this time around, again, I would like a victory as my birthday gift. And Showmaker, I'm sure you really want to get your revenge this time for good. So anything you'd like to say? Well, first of all, my birthday is coming up as well, and I really want a victory against Genji for my birthday gift. And I don't know how long it's going to take, but I really want to win. I really want to get this win. And I'm coming to get you, Canyon. And that's the end of the interview from Showmaker and Aiming, and back to the space. Thank you.